righty, let's do it. Let's get it on. Calvin.
All right.
I almost said Spencer then. I had Spencer on yesterday. Sorry, I've been awake since 4 a.m., so I'm a bit broken at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Calvin, what is going on,
Yes.
my friend? What is happening?
What's up, man? Nothing much. I'm just.
Oh, sorry, you go. My bad. I forget
sorry,
there's a delay.
You're good. Yeah, I'm just living the life over here in sunny / not so sunny Michigan.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. I always I really enjoy talking to the Americans. Americans, they're fun. You guys are exciting. You're exciting to Australians,
Wow.
I guess. You know, maybe it's a little bit the other way as well. You know, I think when I was over there, Americans loved Australians, so I think we have a good bond.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, from what I've heard, I really enjoy the accent because, like, from where I'm from, in Michigan, people say that Michiganders have an accent of some sort, like we like prolong our A's or something like that, which I kind of hear that in my own accent, but I don't know. I kind of enjoy the sound of, like, the Europeans and the Australian accent. I think you have an interesting accent, I think.
Yeah, it's we have a word for it. I think you guys call them like hillbillies. We're bogans, so we sort of draw our words out a little bit. We swear a lot. Well, I swear a lot. I can't talk for everybody else, but it's sort of like normalized here a little bit, as it's not so offensive. We say the C word in an endearing way.
Okay. Really?
Which is wild, because I remember somebody, like, I was with a group of friends when I was over there, and somebody said it, and everyone was so offended by it. And it's like, no, over where we're from, it's it means mate, I guess. it's a multi-use word. You can use it for anything.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's
That's
wild.
fine.
It's definitely different. It's only in Australia though. You know what I mean? Where you can call somebody like the rudest word in the world, and it means something a lot nicer.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, tell me about your podcast.
Yeah, well, I just started a podcast. When was it? I think it was early April that I started it, and I for the longest time I've had a fascination with, like, aliens and UFOs and ancient civilizations and stuff like that, and I never could really have much of an output for it. So I said, what better of a way than to just make a podcast for it? So it's called Unquestionable with Calvin Smith, and basically I want to take a look at things that would be considered a fact. So, like, if you look at a modern history book, most history books would say that the Sphinx was built 4,500 years ago by Chephren, was supposedly who made the Sphinx. But independent researchers are finding that the Sphinx is much older than that and predates pre-dynastic Egypt at over 10,000 years old. And so it's kind of a podcast of questioning the modern narrative, whether it be with religion or people with a UFO or alien belief, because I myself am an atheist, so I don't really believe in any of it. I just, maybe someone has some sort of evidence that I'm unaware of that might convince me of something. So I made the podcast so that people can kind of give their case and maybe have something that makes me believe in psychics or ghosts or aliens or something.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the gist of the podcast.
I love it. I love this stuff. Yeah. I like I said, I've been waiting for so long to be able to just go into that. Not like the conspiracies in terms of, like, what they got going on now with 5G and stuff, but like alien conspiracies and stuff like that. Before we kick off, I just want to give a shout out to the 3 biggest listeners, and they're all not listeners, the places: California, Virginia, Oregon. You guys are number 1. Yeah, that's shocking. So shout out to America for supporting the show. Like and share Calvin's show as well. All right, so I think Robert Schoch did the independent test in regards to the Sphinx being older than it was. He said that there was like something to do with the water. Come on, brain. I am struggling. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The water erosion around the Sphinx is actually much older, like 10,000, 20,000 years older. Is that where you started? Because that's where I started. I heard him talk about it. I think it was in like Ancient Aliens. There's a documentary on Netflix about it.
Yeah, it's funny. Actually, see, I started off on kind of with Ancient Aliens. That's kind of what got me into like super into aliens to begin with when I really had a serious alien belief. But really what turned me on to like the ancient technology and, the ancient civilization type of thing was a guy named Brian Forrester. I don't know if you're familiar with Brian Forrester, but I had him on my podcast once, and it is actually my second episode. I have Brian Forrester on. We talked about elongated skulls and some other ancient sites that he's been to. And his latest book we talked about a little bit. And I started watching his videos about four years ago. I started watching his YouTube videos, and then it branched off onto like Graham Hancock and then Robert Schoch and stuff like that. And bought all Graham Hancock's books. I have all his books sitting in the other room, read all of them. And it's just the arguments for that and the evidence that Robert Schoch presents for the Sphinx being older than 10,000 years old. I mean, it's right in front of your face for myself. And it seems like the modern archaeologists and Egyptologists don't want to accept that narrative.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. Well, not definitely tell, but you could see why. So I remember them explaining, like they've created this narrative, and to go back on it, and I think that's anything to do with like academia, where it's like, all right, here's my research, and this is what the conclusion I've come up with. Pay me money, right? And people go, that's fantastic. We love that. Here's some money. And then when they find something new, they go, nope, that's fake. It's made up. It can't be real because I'm making money off this thing that I've just done. It's like it's stupid. It's really dumb. And you think you'd lean towards the right thing rather than going, oh, like I'm just trying to protect what little legacy I have while I'm alive, because as soon as I'm dead, it's just going to go to shit anyway. But all those guys presented like reasonable arguments for their case, I guess.
I totally agree. Yeah. Because for me, it's just, I started, looking at Brian Forrester, and he was showing like ancient civilizations like Pumapunku or like Tiwanaku and Mexico and Peru. And it's like how precise, the technology that they were using. They're making drill holes that are millimeters in diameter, and they're making perfect drill holes through these, granite blocks with stone hammers and copper chisels. It just doesn't add up to me.
Yeah.
And it's shocking that, instead of trying to investigate further, they just kind of try to put on, academia basically tries to pass off this fake narrative instead of just continuing to investigate. It's disingenuous, I think.
Yeah, there's also like so there's oops, sorry, I just dropped my pen. There's a couple of like things behind it. There's like humans are either imaginative or they're tangible. Like it has to be one of the, you know what I mean? I've been talking to like a lot of flat earthers. Well, not a lot. I've spoken to two, and that's enough. That's a lot. Yeah. Lovely people, but they're very tangible people. If I can see it, then I believe it. But then there's also the what's wild about it. They're very big on like, I haven't seen the round earth, but I'm heavily Christian. And you're like, huh? Yeah. What? That makes zero sense. So it's like, I guess it's once again, and then you put money into that, and then there has to be this tangibility where it's like, it's sort of like tangible by facts of what we have present, rather than the possibilities of there being something else. And if you wipe out possibilities of anything, you don't have to look. You know what I mean? If you think in your brain that it can't exist, then what's the point of digging in that direction?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's once again it's crazy, and I like the stories behind them. So there's I guess we'll get into the offshoots. So the two stories are we were either much more advanced back in the day than we once thought, and it's a previous civilization that had access to these tools, and they've just been wiped out by the Great Flood, which is sort of goes in line with, you know, things like in the Bible and stuff, where there was Noah's Ark and there was a Great Flood. And then the second one is aliens came down to help us, which is also somewhat backed by, you know, like old writings, old drawings, and it's kind of...
But at the same time, it's like, I would say, at the same time, I would almost argue that there's little to no evidence of extraterrestrial, you know. I feel like jumping from, you know, looking at like hieroglyphs, like, you know, there's a hieroglyph that looks like a light bulb. I can't remember exactly what it's called. So a lot of people are, you know, like aliens, light bulbs. And I feel like putting a label on it is kind of where people get lost in translation. I feel like instead of saying, you know, this was aliens, like shows like Ancient Aliens, I would never in my life sit down and actually watch that show for serious information, because they try to pass off everything as alien activity. And it's like, I feel like programs like that are definitely kind of harming the actual research that's being done. Like Robert Schoch was actually on Ancient Aliens, and he himself says on his website, like, please don't watch that episode because they twisted my words around.
Yeah, I remember that actually. Yeah,
but yeah, it's just it's weird to me, and like how the pyramids were built and everything. It's just very weird. I think it's more likely that there was a civilization that may have not necessarily been advanced to the point to where we are, and that was wiped out, but could have at least had some sort of technology that we were unaware of. So like, whether it's like some sort of sound technology or, you know, levitation that they were able to do, you know, I don't know. They had something that we didn't, and it's kind of on the cutting board as to what they had. And that's like my whole mission, is I want to know, how the hell did they, you know, move these 3.5 million blocks for the pyramids, you know, miles from Aswan, and then place them, you know, dozens of feet high? How did they do that? You know, and there's a lot of questions that need to be answered for me. And I feel like textbooks try to give you the answer instead of continuing to investigate.
Yeah, that's it. Once again, there's that very logical, tangible, you know, slaves cut down all the trees and they moved them very, very slowly across, you know, whatever. And then you kind of like,
and it's like, it's estimated
maybe
the pyramid was estimated to take like 20 years. It is what any textbook would tell you, that it took 20 years to build the pyramids. And that would mean that they would have to lay 3 blocks per minute. They would have to cut and place these blocks 3 blocks per minute. And that's the size of these blocks were 2.5-3 tons.
Yeah.
It's way easier said than done. And I just don't see that happening in even 20 years. I feel like we would have a hard time doing that today.
I don't even think we can build pyramids. Not to the same extent that they did. But I think the only pyramid that we've built so far is that one in Vegas, right? That it's like the steel and glass.
Like, come on, that's a phony. Like,
you know, like it's that's the thing that always got me. And I think once again, it's like, if you can't explain it, then you try and rationalize it by, you know, it's just some far out thing. You know, I think probably a similar type of belief in religion, where it's like, oh, I don't know exactly. Science doesn't have an answer. There's no like credible reason for it. It's a big man in the sky. He has control.
Right.
Over it. You know what I mean? I think it's the same thing. I think that like the Robert Schoch thing, where it's like, it really takes away from the alien thing, just not blaming, but pointing the finger at aliens for everything that we can't explain that happened back then. Yeah. I think they're two different arguments. You know what I mean? The aliens to do with the pyramids and aliens themselves coming to Earth they're two different things, and maybe they helped, maybe that, you know. But I think I like the idea that there was another advanced civilization before us, and it was wiped off the map by something they created. And it's like, that one sort of resonates a little better, because it's like, look what we're doing. It's you know what I mean? It's the exact same pattern. like human beings creating something they can't control, which is what we do constantly. It's we don't really evolve, we adapt. We create something that we have no idea about and we have no control over, and we adapt to it. That's how humans evolve. Exactly. It's not like this, we get better and then the things come up with us. It's definitely the other way around. So I think that's like a more likely story, like it's, back then there was this technology that isn't made out of cement and steel. They've figured something else out and they cocked it up.
Right. I mean, because I think doing, the thing where you're adding aliens into it instead of humans, it's dumbing humans down. I mean, like we've done amazing things in the past. And I mean, you can look at ancient structures that we can prove were made in pre-dynastic Egypt and, way older, that are just amazing structures, and we can prove how they were made. So it's like putting the alien label on it is dumbing us down. And I mean, not to say we haven't done amazing things, but to say how old those amazing things are, and, and just where our intelligence developed previously is interesting to me. And, I want to know how those ancient structures were built rather than by who.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like, I think they're pointed in the wrong direction in terms of that. And it's like, that'll be the argument, rather than being like, all right, here's what we need to look at. Let's stand here and fight each other. Yeah. And once again, it's a bit of human arrogance though as well. Like, we're very egotistical, and the idea of somebody being smarter than us, like even on an individual level, irks us so bad. When somebody is smarter than you, you're like, oh fuck. So just to think like a whole civilization prior to us had stuff that we don't have, it irks us so badly. So it's like, no, they were just people with sticks and spears, and they built these things that we can't even build now, and we have all the technology in the world. It irks us so bad.
Yeah, but it's like you look back and you're like, wow, the things that they did make were, amazing at the time. So like, what else could have they done at the time? What maybe, I don't know. I feel like, basically there's I kind of go with this theory, like with Graham Hancock, that there was an ancient civilization from 14,000 years ago, and then the Younger Driest impact hypothesis. I don't know if you've heard about like the Younger Driest event or anything like that, or looked at all into that.
Just go over it. I might have. It might jog my memory. But
the Younger Driest impact hypothesis theory is basically 14,000 years ago. There was a cooling of the planet, and then it was a sudden cooling that basically flash frozen basically a whole half of the continental United States. And then there was a sudden warm up that happened over the course of 1,200 years that caused the Earth to basically melt all of that ice and to flood the entire planet.
Yeah.
And then that caused basically a mini ice age from all that water cooling down. And that's basically the Younger Driest impact theories, that we were hit by a comet that caused that rapid melting of the ice sheet that caused these global floods that would relate to like Noah's flood, or the sinking of Atlantis, or the Epic of Gilgamesh, or anything of that nature. So that's basically it. So I kind of pertained that there was an ancient civilization such as the Atlanteans, which a lot of things that I've read about, it's called the Eye of Africa in Mauritania. It's Plato described a city of 8 consecutive rings, Atlantis, that was located somewhere in the western part of Africa, because of what I believe it was great-grandfather Solon actually traveled to Egypt and talked to a priest who told the story of Atlantis to Solon, and Solon passed it down to Plato. And Plato describes Atlantis sinking over a single day and night of misfortune due to basically a massive flood. And he describes the exact area where this Eye of Africa is. And you can actually go on Google Maps right now and look up, Eye of Africa and Mauritania, and you can actually see this big. It looks like a circular structure. It's really cool looking, and you can actually see where the sand kind of washes over this area of land in Mauritania. And Graham Hancock and Jimmy from Bright Insight on YouTube, he's a good ancient civilization guy too. They kind of theorize that Mauritania was once this Atlantis type of civilization, this ancient civilization that may have had some sort of advanced technology. And when this Younger Dryas event happened with the sudden melting of the ice caps, it washed away Atlantis in a single day and night of misfortune. And that's kind of where I stand. And it kind of matches up with the story of, now I'm not saying that the story of Noah's Ark is real, but the flood itself is real. But yeah, I do think that there was actually a flood that the Bible might have mentioned, but whether that the story is true or not is fault is,
Yeah, but I think it's like a story like that lasts for so long. And I think I remember talking to somebody about, like, in terms of the Bible, it's like you can sort of pull parts of the Bible out and go, that is easily relatable to humans, right? And then you can go, there's some of it that is stupidly far-fetched. But it's like the whole Chinese whispers thing, right? And it's like, it's just like anybody telling any story. And like, I think if you tell a story naturally and normally, you're going to get like some of your friends listening. But then if you blow it up, like the Noah's Ark thing, and go, the whole world flooded, everyone goes, what? That is crazy. And then like people listen. So it's one of those things. It's like same with the Atlantis thing. It's there's stuff out there that kind of goes, it's there, but then it's like blown out of proportion, because who gives a shit about a city sinking? It has to be fun and exciting, and there's fucking mermaids there, and Aquaman lives there, and it's everybody's having a good time, and there's lots of riches, and all this other stuff to try and fluff up the story to make it more appealing with like with anybody. Let me see if I can get this.
It's just as far as like the Eye of Mauritania thing goes, it's like, I mean, it looks like you can almost see consecutive rings in it. It almost looks like there could have been some sort of structure there, and it's just interesting that it's in almost the exact same spot that Solon said. Apparently this priest told Solon that that's where. He like drew a map basically of where Atlantis was, and it just so happens to be exactly where the Eye of Africa is right now.
All right, we got it up. So that looks wild.
Yeah, and from the sky it looks amazing. It looks crazy, but on the ground it looks like just a barren. Like there's nothing. It's just
you can
absolutely nothing from ground level.
Definitely see why though, right? It's
but like I mean, if there was a flood of that magnitude, where if you were to zoom out on Google Maps and kind of look how the sand is kind of washing down into the ocean to the west, it relates to where the meteor would have hit, and these rapid melting of the ice sheet would have washed down on the earth and actually washed right through there.
That's crazy. I've never seen this before.
Yeah,
that is some
incredible.
Wild stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I really do feel like even if that wasn't the only civilization, I feel like that could have been one of many civilizations that could have been scattered across the East Andes or the continental United States. But this flood is what washed away the civilization. And
but see, like when you think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah,
kind of like it. You can kind of go, I could see that happening. It's not some weird thing involving like things from the sky coming and blowing people out of, like destroying a city, or it has nothing to do with fucking mermaids and shit.
It's all naturalistic, and that's the thing, is that if you go on Wiki and you look up this story of the Younger Dryas impact event, it's listed as pseudoscience. And it's like, this isn't pseudoscience. There's actual evidence and scientific studies to back this stuff up. And just the fact that it's just being labeled as pseudoscience without even looking at the evidence is just, it's like, what the hell, you know, what else are we supposed to do?
Yeah, it's once again, it's just people, like, it's so much easier to go.
And it's like, it's because what if this happens again? That's the thing, is that this younger Driest, it would have happened nearly instantly. I mean, you would have looked up in the sky, there would have been a bright ball, and then you'd have been dead.
And then that's it. It's game over.
Like, it would have been that quick. So it can happen again. And we've had a lot of close calls in recent years. I think it was just a couple of years ago, there was a meteor that passed by that was closer than the distance than the moon is from us. And it would have wiped out half the planet if it would have hit us. And that was just a couple of years ago. So the fact that, I mean, we're basically sitting ducks here. I feel like looking into that type of event further, even if it is pseudoscientific, I think looking into it might be beneficial to, you know, preventing that from possibly happening.
Yeah, and there's always that humans are terrified of things from space coming in, and
oh yeah,
even though we've never seen it or experienced it, there's some like weird, just ingrained fear about, you know, something coming in and crashing into the earth, even if it's like thousands of this is it, this is the end.
Yep, it's terrifying.
It's like Armageddon, the movie. Like, it's just sweaty palms the whole way. The movie doesn't make any fucking sense. It's when you think about the movie itself, it's horrible. Like, why wouldn't you just train astronauts to be drillers rather than train drillers to be astronauts? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you
never thought of that.
But you never think about any of that. All you think about is this giant fucking thing falling from the sky.
Right.
And there's something weirdly ingrained in us to fear that, you know, and it has to come from somewhere, surely. There has to be this, you know, this primal thing that is just so deeply ingrained in us to fear falling things from the sky, and it had to have come from somewhere.
Yeah, I totally agree, yeah.
Come from Atlantis. There was one survivor, and he told everybody, he's like, if you see a big flash of light in the sky, just run. Just wherever you got to go. Put on your floaties because you're about to drown. It's... I mean,
there's like...
Oh, sorry, you go.
There's like stories of... there's a being named Viracocha, who's, I believe, in the South American type of mythology and like Mexico type of area. And Viracocha was this godlike being in that basically... He was known as like a creator god. So he's like Quetzalcoatl or Ra. He was the creator of everything. And there's a lot of depictions of him actually showing up for, I believe it was the Aztecs. I could be wrong on that. He's actually showing up for them and helping them build structures. And he's telling them how things are done. And he's described having red hair. He's a red hair guy, and red hair people were not known in that part of the red hair people weren't known in that part of the world at that time. They weren't around there. So the fact that they would describe as someone having red hair is interesting. And I believe they describe him having a beard too, and people of that culture just couldn't grow beards. So they were describing weird things, in that he got in a boat and he sailed off at incredible speeds and was never seen again, like a speedboat. You know, it's very interesting how, and he used weird technologies to help them build structures and make crops and better equip them for civilization. And then he just kind of wandered off and was like, all right, there you go, bye. So what if that was a descendant or possibly one of the remainders of that ancient civilization? I don't know.
So there's that theory that humans were created from aliens coming down and fucking around with monkeys, you know?
Yeah.
You know, just testing it out, just seeing what I can add and then we sort of created from it, and then there's like this, like they just come back and check in on us every so often, like where they're like weird little pets, you know, and they
like we're a science experiment or
like
something.
we're like a dog farm, you know what I mean? Where you know you get these families that come in and they pick their dogs, and there's thousands of them there, and like we want this one, and that'll explain like people getting abducted and missing off the face of the earth. You know, these aliens come down, they pick you out of this litter of six or 7 billion, and like, you're my pet now. You know, we're just some weird alien farm for pets and animals that they, you know, they let us mature a little bit, and then they take us away. Maybe the probings are like their way of, you know, giving us our shots so we don't die in space. This is my theory now. I'm taking this. This is what's happening. Yeah. This is exactly what's happening. Humans aren't that smart. We're smarter here, but we're idiots. Yeah. Like when you think about it, we're super dumb. We're like an angry monkey. So then we get trained. You know, just like if you were to let like a dog go rabid and wild. This is probably why dogs are man's best friends. It's because we're pets as well, and we understand what they're going through. Right. You know what I mean? That's mine. I'm taking it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting theory. I mean, it's copyright, but I think it's, I don't know, just like, I feel like if my dog suddenly started talking, I don't have a dog, but if my dog suddenly started talking and saying, I want to know if humans are real, you know, or whatever, you know, I would be like, okay, I guess he's making it very vocal. He wants to know that I'm here. So I guess I'll present myself. So I feel like aliens, you know, if you're flying around space, like why the hell haven't you, if we're your pets, like why haven't you just told us like, hey, you know, we're here, you know, don't freak out or anything, but we're here.
Well, all right. Well, like, this is, I guess, where the alien thing really kicks off, like the actual alien discussion. Like, let's get rid of all these old civilizations. There's millions of them out there. We could go on forever, but this is the fun stuff, right? So there's probably like a case for like maybe they've come here. You know, you can look at like maybe the pre-Roswell type thing, right? Well, we're too busy, you know, fighting each other, and then before that, we didn't have the weaponry to really make any substantial damage. So they'd come down quite freely, quite honestly. Now we're fucked. Like now we've advanced so far. And I always say this. It's like if you were to be this advanced sort of like you know, being, right, and you were to sort of see this space that is just full of murderous animals that essentially just take and destroy, like would you go? Right. You just look from afar. You know what I mean? You adapt your technology to avoid, because I remember there was it was like a Navy person who was chasing one, and his immediate reaction was to shoot at it. You know what I mean? And that's what we do. We immediately try and kill what we don't understand. We do it with each other, and we're all human, right? And we will go, oh, I don't understand this culture, kill it. I don't understand what this is, kill it. So it's like, why would you come?
Unfortunately, that's a flaw, you know, in humans as a whole. You know, we're so violent, and you know, having like why do we need nuclear bombs? You know, like what is the point in that? Why do we need war in general? You know, it's like it's all this pointless violence. And so I do think you're right there. That's probably why they haven't presented themselves to us yet. But I mean, there's like reports of people, like military officials, saying that like UFOs, you know, flying above nuclear facilities and stopping actual launches and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Cold War, right?
Yeah.
So they apparently stopped a launch from happening.
Yeah.
And it's like you got to think these military officials or whatever they are, they have some sort of credibility. They're not going to make it up for any sort of credit or clout.
Right.
They're just going like, this is what it is. So you kind of have to go, well, like we'd be ignorant to think that they're not out there. They definitely are. Or I don't know. There is another theory that we are the tip of the spear. Humans are destined to populate the universe because once again, it is so ingrained in us to travel, to find space, and to dominate it. We're very aggressive in that sense. But then it's like, I think there's enough out there where you can kind of go, there is something out there that isn't us. But then you can see why it doesn't present itself, because as soon as we have access to what they have in terms of traveling through space, we're going to ruin it. We're the bad guys of the universe until we find a bigger, badder guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that the universe is just too vast for there not to be something out there, whether it's microbial life or if it's, bipedal, humanoid creatures, or if it's a bird or something flying on a different planet. But just whether they're actually here right now with us is where I don't know whether they're actually here. I do think we possess some sort of technology that possibly could be of extraterrestrial origin.
Yeah.
Maybe something like I believe Roswell, we possibly may have had an encounter where something crashed into us. And we obtained that technology, but whether they are currently here and whether they're in our airspace, I don't know. I more so stand behind that. I think the current UFOs that we're seeing today are more than likely military vehicles, and it's a secret UFO program from the military.
Well, that was originally, I think even Hitler was trying to make UFOs. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to put it up.
I was actually just talking with someone the other day who was pretty is actually one of the psychics that I went to. Me and my wife got a psychic reading, and we just kind of evaluated how accurate she was on her psychic reading on my podcast. And she was pretty confident that Hitler succeeded in creating like a UFO technology. And basically there's a base in Antarctica that has this German UFO technology that they're still working on out there today. So I was like, that's interesting. But
that's a big call, right? It's such a big call. I think this is probably, I don't know if you probably can't see it. Never mind. I think that's it. It looks like an upside down. Oh, it looks like one of those spin tops. It's got like a narrow sort of top on it, and it's obviously just spans out into this. But then there was even when Area 51 happened, they were designing aircraft shaped like this anyway. So they were more than likely the things that you saw over Area 51 were human made, and they were designed because of this notion of what we created. Aliens come to Earth in, so then they're like, let's make it and give it a shot. Once again, we're incredibly simple creatures. It's what I mean. We kind of have an idea, we design it, and then if it works, and we either adapt to it or we move on to the next thing and create it and design it and then adapt. So it's definitely possible that we're creating these types of spaceships and it's just us doing it. But then there's I don't know. It's so hard to say. It's like any conspiracy theory, I guess, where it's there's a 10% fact where you can look at it and you go, that's cool. And then they fill it full of garbage just to mislead you. Wouldn't that be what you did? Do if you want to sort of mislead somebody from a truth, you can give them a bit and then you just fill the rest of it with shit. This is my fact, but then there's all of this behind it. And you're like, what the fuck did you just say to me? And then you're like, cool, I'll see you later. Yeah,
exactly. And it's people like Bob Lazar. He his story as a whole is what really is making me, speculate on it for sure. He's really what's keeping me in the game, and I want to know more about his story. The fact that he came out in I think it was the 80s. He came out with Element 115 before, way before it was a thing.
Yeah.
And him mentioning how he worked on S4, and he actually put fucking rockets on his bicycle when he was a teenager. He's putting rockets on his bicycle. So it's this guy is a super genius, and he has no his life was basically ruined by coming out as a whistleblower for this UFO technology and for Area 51. And he's so convincing to me. It's very, he's really got me scratching my head on the Bob Lazar thing.
Yeah. So once again, it's like things like that. And there's what David Fravor or who did the thing with Jeremy Corbell as well. And he was like, this is what I saw. I can't tell you what it is, but there's so many cases of those. And I think the French, I think it was last year, they announced that this is a thing, but COVID really took over that and everybody sort of forgot. They kind of peppered that one in there just so you immediately forget it.
Yeah.
But then you can't look at the advancement in technology and go like, you can kind of go, yeah, maybe we had a little bit of help. Just like the the guy rocking up on this weird boat that took off 1 million miles an hour and somebody going, here, try this out, and then pissing off somewhere. And, like you can look at some of the things created back then. That stealth bomber they made, what is it, the SR-71?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Right.
Come on. Like, as if that isn't some outer space bullshit that we just wax.
It looks like a freaking Star Wars. It's crazy.
Like, it's insane, that thing. And it's like, it's something that hasn't been remade. Like, you know what I mean? It's like such a bizarre thing that it was so good. And they're like, no, we're just going to bench it because it's like, back then, maybe they got away with it because it was like, it was such a weird anomaly. But when you look back on it, like if you this superpower, wouldn't you want to improve on that and make it bigger and better? And they're like, no, we got to put this fucking thing away. Like, we can't let anybody else touch this. Bench it. And that's kind of bananas,
Yeah. That's where there's no way that they're just putting it off to the side. That they're working on this thing off the record or whatever. And, they're advancing this thing to be, I'm confident that they have something that would blow your freaking mind if it were to come out as true. That's why, like, this 180-day UFO disclosure thing that's going on. I don't know if you're familiar with in the U.S. there was that clause for the 180 days for UFO disclosure of some sort. No. And there's been a lot of
what's it about, UFO disclosure 180-day?
Yeah, well, it was slipped into the COVID bill. So Trump came out with a COVID bill and slipped into was a little clause that within 180 days of the publishing of the bill. I don't remember exactly what it says, but it says like, UFO disclosure of some sort by the end of the 180 days. And that's what's been causing a lot of this weird footage that I've been seeing lately, like with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp releasing some footage that was previously classified, like of the pyramid UFOs and some other weird.
I didn't see the pyramid. I heard about it today, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you should check it out because it's really weird. And the fact that the Pentagon is saying that, we don't know what the hell those things are. Like, that is our footage, and we don't know what the hell those things are.
I saw this.
The fact that they're admitting it is like haunting.
It's like, all right. So, did you ever watch the Joe Rogan interview when he had Tom DeLonge on?
Yeah, I did. Yep, with TR3Bs and stuff like that.
Right. The reason why that is like particularly crazy is it's not the alien shit that he was talking about. It's like how he was presenting it. He was like, I am the gateway from government officials to the general public. He's like, I know how to say it and sell it. Right.
Yep.
That is the craziest part because that is exactly how you would release information. Humans, nobody on this planet handles abrupt news very well. Look at death, right? Death is typically abrupt and nobody handles it very well. But then over time, we know it's coming. We know it's a part of life. We know everybody dies, but the abruptness of it fucks us up. There's like an emotional abruptness where we go, I can't deal with it. So if you'd have just come out and just, you know, one day Joe Biden walks out and he's like, guys, look at this fella. And this alien walks out, the world would fucking melt down. It would absolutely fucking go bananas. So, but then there's, once again, theories that like things like Hollywood sort of release like movies to do with certain things at a certain time to mentally prepare. It's like this passive sort of awareness that like that they're raising in your brain, and they're implanting this little thing to soften the blow. So I think like when you put all of that together, it kind of adds up, right? And like Trump doing that, this fucking weird space force. Why do we need a space force, Trump?
Right. Why do we need a space force if there's nothing in space? You know, it's like, what are you trying to conquer right now? I don't like. There's not. We can't go anywhere yet. It's very weird. I don't know. It's people like Tom DeLonge. I don't know how much I trust Tom DeLonge. To be honest, like he just seems like he's a little out of his league. To be honest, like he's a pop punk dude. You know, I feel like he's a little out of his league doing, you know, what he's doing. So whether he's actually being truthful or not, I don't know. But I don't know. He's a weird character for sure.
But like, I think if you look at the facts of that, if like a government agency, the government lies to fucking everybody, and if you want to work with them, you have to lie with them. Look at anybody who works for them. So it's like he's just telling people what he's only allowed to tell you, right?
Yeah.
He may have opened the door, like he's got his foot in the door, and you know, but he's obviously just going to be restricted and full of shit, right?
Yeah.
He's just like a guy that you can look at and once again just go, he's just in pop punk, like keeping that little part of like conspiracy real. You know what I mean? It's like if a government official or a politician came out and said it, you'd be like, fuck, that's real. But now there's like that little bit of thing where you go, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like some of the things he said, like I think like the way that it moves, like the engines move through space, where it creates a void in gravity and it pushes through. Yeah. He said that
it's basically constantly falling.
Yeah, that's right. I think I forgot. I listened to another podcast where somebody a little bit more credible said the exact same thing. So it's kind of like he's got information about it. Like,
yeah,
who knows where he's getting it from? But he knows stuff that other people know that don't talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, it's.
But then it's Tom DeLonge. He wrote songs about peeing and pooping. Like, you know what I mean? He's in a pop punk band. He wrote a song about masturbating. Come on.
Right.
So, who knows? I just watched the Triangle Pyramid video.
Oh, really?
What could it be?
This UFO video does not show a pyramid. There's a triangle.
It does not show a pyramid.
But that looks exactly like an effect
let's
caused
watch
by
this
a
video
bright
go
light
out.
being out of focus, and a night vision camera with a triangular iris like this one, or a triangular lens cover like this one. This effect is known as bokeh. It's also probably a plane because it blinks in the same pattern as a Boeing 737, and the ship, the USS Russell, was directly under the route for planes flying into Los Angeles from Hawaii and Asia.
There you go.
There are a couple more triangles in the scene. Those are probably stars, because they look exactly like stars taken with a night vision camera out of focus with a triangular iris. There's some bright lights at the start.
Yeah, I don't know. That kind of. I don't know if you heard that, but that.
Huh.
That's
interesting. Yeah, I heard that. It's an interesting explanation. I didn't get to see the video with it, so I mean, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a. Once again,
like I get where they're coming from, but it doesn't fit with how the object is not moving at all in the sky.
That's yeah. Have you had any alien experiences? What got you What got the brain ticking with this?
I personally haven't really. I mean, there was one time where I was driving home from work, and I thought that I looked out my window and it was clear blue sky, absolutely nothing in the sky. I see this little black, cigar-shaped black object just hovering in the sky. Clear blue sky, nothing in there, and I mean, I know what a plane looks like, and it's not moving; it's sitting in the spot. And I was like, "What the hell is that?" And so I grabbed my phone and I'm just taking pictures. I'm driving and I'm snapping pictures out my window, and hoping that I get it. And I got home, I look out and it was gone because I wasn't too far from my house. By the time I got home, I looked up and it was gone out of that part of the sky. I was like, okay, cool. I look at my pictures and, all I got was this little black cigar shape. So what it was, I don't know. I'm pretty confident it wasn't an airplane. Could it have been maybe some sort of air balloon? Maybe. But I don't know. It's hard to say, but I used to have the picture. I don't think I have it anymore. I could be wrong. I don't know. I could look for it probably, but, yeah, it didn't really show anything though. So that was the only thing as far as like an alien experience that I think I personally had, but like I'm all open to being abducted. Like, please abduct me.
Take me away. I've had two very clear, very like it could not have been anything else. All right.
Really? So okay.
Let's get into it. Let's unpack this.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone's going to be like, this dude is bananas. The first one I was young.
Tinfoil hats.
Yeah, that's right. He's just fucking losing his mind. He's locked up in his apartment all the time. What's he doing up there? He's just fucking reading conspiracy. I'm going down the rabbit hole. All right, so the first one, I was young. I was with I used to, like, me and my brother had, like, we shared a room. We had this huge room and it had a monster window on the back of it, and it overlooked like just land, like bushland. There's nothing there, nothing. And we lived in like a kind of ruralish area. There's not really any planes going over. Nothing really, there's nothing out there, and it's pitch black there. There's no light pollution. And then my brother woke me up and he's like, "You got to come have a look at this." And it was just two lights, super bright, very, very bright. They look like super bright stars. Like, imagine like if a planet was like super close. And they were just sort of like circling each other, like in this weird sort of pattern, right? And we were sitting there and we'll watch it for a while, right? And you could just be like, maybe it's a plane, maybe they're doing, because down there there's a military base as well. Like maybe they're doing something. Maybe they're testing something out. Mm-hmm. The crazy part was when they left. They started spinning faster and faster and faster, and then they just disappear. Like it was this weird, just blink of an eye, they're gone straight away. So that was a thing that I was like, it had to be either something incredibly advanced or it's aliens. Me at the time, it was straight up aliens because I was a kid. I don't know any better.
Do you think it could have been a flare?
No, it's just the length that it stuck around and how it moved. The movement was the part that got me. It didn't look. Do you know how your brain sort of like just accustomed to seeing particular things move in a certain way? It didn't move normal. Like it looked fake. Like it looked like I was watching it on a TV. And this is, like 20 odd years ago, 25 or something. The second one was the wild one. I used to live in this bottom part of a 2-story house. So people lived upstairs. I lived downstairs by myself, right? My room, there's like a street, and my room back, we faced out to the road. And then there's like a driveway and places where you park your car and whatever. Very dimly lit area. Not a lot of lights where I live. We don't believe in lights, apparently. Mm-hmm. I woke up and the room, it was like, I wouldn't even say it was like daytime. It was like floodlights were out the front, shining straight in. It was so bright, like I had to squint, and everything in my room was shaking, like crazy shaking. Like things were falling off the bedside tables. Like the doors were opening on my cupboards. It was going crazy. Like everything was shaking violently, right? And this bright light was coming in. Obviously, I panicked. I stood up. I opened the door, and everything went dark and quiet. Like I look outside, and it was just like business as usual. There was nothing out there. So it was just this weird blinding light, and this just crazy shaking of the house. Like imagine like if a plane flew directly over your home, and it was just utterly shaking. And as soon as I opened the door, it was just like an instant switch. No lights, no shaking, nothing. I asked the people the next day, I was like, did you guys see that? And they're like, nothing. Didn't see anything.
So do you think that, you said that this was at nighttime where you were sleeping?
Yeah, so there's the logical point where I was like, you just kind of woke up and you're freaking out a little bit.
Sleepwalking?
You know what I mean? But then but then there was like all my cupboard doors were open. Yeah. Like there was stuff on the floor. Like my room was shaking. How do you explain that?
Maybe like sleep paralysis or something.
I must have.
Maybe sleepwalk. I don't know. Maybe you sleepwalk. I don't know. But that's crazy that happened.
So it's like, once again, it's like you can look at the logical, the rational side and go,
right.
Yeah, maybe like I just woke up and it was just my brain like reconnecting to the world, and the light seemed brighter, and the shaking was just me trying to get up. And then when I opened the door, I sort of came out of some sort of sleep state. But 2 times.
Yeah.
You know, one time you can kind of go, I don't know. It's a bit, you see one type of alien thing, but 2 times?
That's crazy. Yeah, like, cause like that's, wow. Like, just like where I stand, like on my standpoint is like, I stand on like, I don't know on anything. I don't know anything for sure. So like, if I were to see like, you know, your experience with like the room shaking and the lights and everything, I would go, holy shit, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
But at that point, there's no evidence to point me towards aliens. Although it's fun to think about, there would be no evidence to bring me towards aliens. So at that point, I wouldn't even continue to think about it until I have further evidence. Same thing with like the thing like happening in your sky, or it happening in the sky too, like the flares. You know, I would definitely say like, what the heck was that? I need to investigate that further. But like, I wouldn't necessarily say that like, I would say it's a UFO, because technically anything in the sky that you don't know is an unidentified flying object. So I mean, that's the call UFO. Technically it is to me. But what I call like aliens, you know, I don't know. That's really cool.
Yeah. Hold up. I think I'm losing you here, man.
Sort of experience like.
Hold up, Calvin. I think it's shitting out a little bit. I think we're losing a bit of connection here. Let's just wait 1 sec till it settles. I can go. All right, I think we're okay. Hopefully.
Okay.
It went all robot-y. Maybe they're onto us. Maybe we've hit a nerve.
We're talking about too much.
They know
stuff.
They know too much.
The lizards.
Yeah, that's right.
Hillary Clinton's listening.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like you said, it's a conspiracy, and it's a theory, which means there's no tangible evidence. There's nothing attaching it to anything. It's just an idea or a thought, and the human brain is dumb as well. It does see a lot of things, and memory is incredibly fallible. So it's like,
so that's the thing. As a human brain, we want to find an answer for things. We want to put an answer on things, and it's hard to accept that we just don't know. But sometimes that's the most genuine thing that you can say, is that you just don't know, rather than saying, that's right, it's God, it's alien,
Calvin,
it's lizard.
Sorry to cut you off. Can you wait 1 second? I just got to get this delivery. I'm so usually I don't do this, but it's very important.
No problem. You're good. I can hang out.
Just ramble away. Hold up.
Yeah. Awesome. I guess this is my show now. So I guess, hey, what's up? Wow. I never thought I would be the guest of What Are We Doing Here? It looks like he's getting the package. Oh, here he comes. All right, don't tell him what I said. Oh no, he's not coming back. All right. Anyways, hope you guys having a good time. I guess. Wow, I guess it's a good thing that I like to talk, so you guys can listen to my soft, supple voice on my new show. What Are We Doing Here with Calvin Smith? You know. So today we're going to talk about. I don't know. Hey, okay, he's back.
Right. He's back in. All right, sorry, man. I run a business, so it's like it's an important delivery, and if I don't get it, I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow and then try and find.
No, you're good. I hope I was occupying the audience with my smooth, supple voice. I was having fun.
That's right. Just nice and soothing. Like, what do you take out of? I guess, like, sticking with the alien thing, like the stories. There's that. Oh my God, I forgot his name. My brain is struggling. He was in the woods with not his mates. He was at work and he got abducted for like 5 days. And he remembered. Yeah. How do you break that down then? You know what I mean? Like, are you one of those people that's like, his story is legitimate enough to sort of believe, or do you just put it down to, him just being full of shit?
His story is another one of those ones that, like, I'm really set off by, like his and the Betty and Barney Hill story and, Roswell. Those are just some things that I have a hard time not, believing and, really keeping me on the theory of it. So, like, with Travis Walton, it's really interesting to me that the big thing for me is that he disappeared for so long, and I believe all of his he was gone for like 3 or 4 days or something, and all of his crewmates passed lie detector tests. I believe. Yeah, I think 1 or 2 of them might have failed one or something. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like someone might have failed one or something. But either way, the majority of them passed lie detector tests, and I mean, they were genuinely terrified. And it's not like they would want to admit to murdering their best friend or anything. So it's like, why would they do that? They didn't gain really any financial gain from it or anything at all. Travis Walton, he was just on Joe Rogan not so long ago, and the dude looked freaking traumatized still when he was talking about it. Yeah. And like, it's just really strange. I just watched the movie Fire in the Sky a couple days ago too. I watched, just for shits and giggles, I watched Fire in the Sky. And it's a really weird story, and I really don't know about it. I think that it's really interesting, but I feel like it's also possible that Travis Walton could have had some sort of delusion, and I don't know, maybe wandered off in the forest or something. Maybe they all found some weird shrooms in the forest and ate them. I don't freaking know, and maybe they all genuinely do think that they saw something because they were high. I don't know. It's a really long stretch, but I don't know. For me, it's hard to, it's one of those things that we really can't refute. It's anecdotal, really. We can't go anywhere from it.
Yeah, it's I think, like, one story by itself is pretty hard to believe. It's pretty hard to, if you're not there and you don't witness it and you're not really a part of it. You could say, like, he was walking, like, they saw these lights. He ran into the forest. Could have fallen over and hit his head. You know what I mean? And just that head trauma caused him to see things. I think but then like all of these stories combined, and you can kind of go, you know what I mean? That one in Africa where the ship landed just outside of the school, and then all the school kids saw it. I think that one is like the most one, like the one that's like really cements it for me. That's the one that you kind of like. That is, it is way too close.
with you being in Australia, are you familiar with the Westall incident?
I've heard about it. It's down in Melbourne as well. I think it was.
Yeah, it was in Victoria.
Yeah.
I guess so. Basically, in 1966, I actually just did a podcast on the Westall incident, and in 1966, a UFO landed a couple blocks away from Westall Primary School.
Yeah.
And it caused all these kids to see a UFO, and I mean that's another one of the stories that really interests me, because I mean this is hundreds of kids, adults, parents, it's everybody that's seeing this thing. And so it's like, what the hell did they see if it wasn't a UFO? I don't know.
Yeah, and I think there's that case that they go towards schools and children because
it remains one of Australia's most enduring,
because they're non-threatening. You know what I mean? Maybe they're a little bit more relatable to the aliens as well. So in terms of stature,
right.
So it makes them a bit more, you'd think likely to land in situations like that near schools.
Less violent, it's less of a risk. If you're landing your children, they're a lot, I feel like the gray aliens would know if they could take down a kid.
Yeah.
So, they're gonna look at this thing and be like, all right, if I need to, I can beat the shit out of this kid. So
yeah, that's right. we go toe to toe. I'm sure to win it. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, as a whole, it's fun to believe, but without any proof, it's kind of like, we don't know. But it'll be one of those things that, like, when it does, and if it does happen, it'll be one of those like really defining moments in humanity, regardless of which way it goes. It could go incredibly horrible, where they're the guy with the biggest stick, and they come down and they give us an ass whooping, and there's nothing we can do about it. Or they'll come down and they'll teach us a bit about humanity and like different ways. I think if if they were to come down, one, it focuses our attention elsewhere rather than at each other. And secondly, it'll provide a way to get off and then lower the population, because we have access to other planets. So we're not all crammed in this one little rock flying through space. Who knows? I'm excited to see. I think the way that things are shaping up with all this like government stuff coming out, I think it's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's now is the time for information to come out for sure. Like with advocates like Jeremy Corbell and David Fravor coming out, and Tom DeLonge, doing the best he can. Even Dr. Stephen Greer. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but he's a little bit more on the woo-woo type of end. He thinks that you can channel aliens if you try hard enough also, but he has really helped out a lot in releasing some information on extraterrestrial technology and stuff like that. So I mean, I think now is the time for sure for things to start coming out. And I'm really excited to see what happens too, because I mean, I want to know the truth. I want to know if there's aliens, or if we have the technology here, or we don't. Cool,
We've done, well, I think that's like the pyramid conversation, right? Where it's like, do we really doubt ourselves that much that we've created these spectacular things, and we have to blame it on like aliens coming down? But then I'll be interested to see if they were to come down, where would they land?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, where would they land?
Where are they going? Who are they giving that one to?
I mean, I would feel like the aliens would, if they're smart enough to come here, they would hopefully know kind of how the world works a little bit.
Yeah.
I would assume that they would probably land either in the most populated area or the least populated area. So either they would land out in the middle of nowhere where no one would see them and set up base and get ready for whatever the hell they're going to do, or they're going to land in the middle of New York City or something and make their presence very well known, or they're going to land in front of the White House, or they're going to land, in front of in Dubai or something. To be honest, I feel like they would land in the U.S., but I don't know. That could just be me
Yeah, I think everybody wants to go. They'll land here. Like, they'll land in Australia. They've come here a few times, apparently.
Yeah.
Why not once more? We got enough. We got enough outback. There's heaps of places to land. We're far enough away from everything.
Right.
Aliens, come hang out here. It's nice weather.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be a good place to set up base. You know, it's a good isolated area.
You know, it's all right down here. We have we're beaches. Lots of beaches if aliens are into that type of thing. I'm not sure if
everywhere you look is a beach.
Every single place. We have a giant desert right in the guts of it. We have, I don't know what else. We have Vegemite. That's kind of alien, isn't it? Like, it's just this weird black paste that you can't eat too much of.
I've personally never had Vegemite, and from what I've heard, I think I want to keep it that way. So
you just got to think of Vegemite. It's not a regular spread. It's not something you put on thick. You got to put you go toast, a ton of butter, and then like a thin layer of Vegemite, and it is perfect. And you maybe put some avocado on there or some cheese, and it's heaven. But a lot of people get a little bit gun-ho on it, and they're putting it on like peanut butter where it's like nice and thick. And that's fucking disgusting. That is the grossest thing you'll ever do.
Yeah, that's really, really weird.
So if you ever run, it's like I said, it's alien enough. That's probably where we got it from when they came down Melbourne. Saw a bunch of these kids. They're like, take this blackish brown paste. Figure it out.
We traveled across the galaxy to give you this delicious spread known as Vegemite.
Maybe it's something else, and we just didn't figure it out, and we just ate it. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know how you see those things that are like, oh, I shouldn't eat that. It's poison. But then we're like, but it looks good. And then we're just like, oh.
Well, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It should be all right. Alrighty, Calvin, I gotta go. I gotta go get this order sorted. Thank you so much for your time, man. I'm gonna do a bit more research. Let's 100% do this again. Give me a topic. I'll dig into it, and I love this conspiracy stuff, man. Especially when it's not like the cuckoo conspiracies, and we can jam out. I love it. And I see you have a guitar in the background, so we can talk about guitar stuff too.
Absolutely, dude. I really appreciate you having me on. I had an awesome time. You're awesome. So I look forward to being on again and talking some crazy. Next time I'll bring my tinfoil hat. We can get real deep.
I'll have to make my one as well. I'll go a refresher. I'll post all your links in the bio of the show anyway. Awesome. I'll send it to you. So if you want to post it, you can post it. Other than that, thanks, my man. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. I'll talk to you later.
All right, see you, legend. All right. 1 second, everybody. My camera's not going to work. It never does. Never, ever. Right at the end. Give me something. Give me a bit of that cam. That's not it. There it is. Look at that handsome devil. God. They don't make them like that anymore, do they? That was Calvin. I love talking about that kind of stuff. And I think it was like, because it was my first time talking about it, it was just like I wanted to talk about everything at once. Aliens are sick. I think the timeline that we created for humans is wrong. There's no way it's just been us and we've come this far this quickly. There has to be something more, for sure. 100%. And nobody can steal any of my alien ideas. They're mine. I won't see them. Who am I kidding? But anyway, check Calvin's show out. It is great. It's a good show. Check my show out. Share it. Like it. Stars and thumbs and fucking whatever else people do to support the show. And once again, big shout out to all the people that have been listening from overseas. That's wild. I still find it's bananas that people actually fucking listen to this. It's crazy. It's absolutely bonkers. So I think the States is up there: Philippines, Thailand, United Kingdom, Canada, Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Mexico, Germany. All you people are brilliant. And of course, all the people back home in Australia. Keep doing what you do. God, I shouldn't be talking. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Everyone, thanks for watching. I see you there. I can see the little viewers down in the corner there. Everyone have a wonderful day. Aliens are real. They're coming for you. See you later.